Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. I'm Mr. G, your weather forecaster today. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday as we work our way through this new work week. And I hope that the weather's work fine, and just peachy where you are. And we got to have an update today on the status of Hurricane Milton as it chugs its way across the Gulf of Mexico. At this point, the southern Gulf of Mexico, just outside of the Bay of Campeche there near the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Is just to the north there, chugging its way off toward the east-northeast, and it's going to be assumed to be affecting central Florida, particularly around the Tampa, St. Petersburg area, where it could potentially make landfall tomorrow around 8 p.m. So yesterday at this time, Hurricane Milton was a Category 5. It has since weakened a bit, so it's now Category 4 with winds about 160 miles per hour at this time, 155 mile per hour winds at this time. We have gusts up to 190 miles per hour, so we are seeing Hurricane Milton make its way towards the east-northeast and will be affecting the Florida area within the next 24 hours or so. So they just have hours to go before Milton makes landfall on the west coast of Florida. So let's go to our maps now and look at where Milton is right now and how it's going at this time. And we see it as a Category 4 storm as it's coming out of the southern Gulf of Mexico. There is Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, right here. That's where Milton is currently located, and it's making its way toward the northeast there. And in about 24 hours is where it will be. And in 24 hours from there, it will be making landfall here. So in about a day or two, it's going to be making landfall. I think this is 24 hours apart. It looks to be so 6 a.m. tomorrow. This is where it's supposed to be, and then about 2 a.m. on Thursday, it will be making landfall there. So about Thursday in the early morning hours. At this time, this is a different time frame than what we had yesterday. It seems to have slowed down. Has looked to be a later impact, a landfall now. So it will be in the late night, the overnight. So about 2 a.m. on Thursday, it should be making landfall here near Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida, and will be Category 3. Right now it's a Category 4. We saw it at Category 5 yesterday with winds about 180 miles per hour. Right now we're sustained at 155 miles per hour, and we're going to see those winds about 140 tomorrow when it makes landfall tomorrow night there in on the west coast of Florida near Tampa and St. Petersburg. So these are the impacts right now. We are looking for extreme, and we have this area right here near Tampa where we're going to be seeing those catastrophic impacts, major hurricane impacts here from Tampa down to that's not Cape Canaveral. I can't read what it say. I can't really see. So it's Cape something. So Cape Canal. So Tampa down to Cape Canal. Canal is where we see those catastrophic impacts. The other areas here will see extreme damage from a hurricane after it makes landfall and moves across the Florida Peninsula. Here is our storm surge, and in the red area here, we are going to be seeing that storm surge in excess of 25 feet. So 25-foot storm surge here, and down here further to the south, in the orange area, we're going to see those 10 to 20 foot storm surge, and then we'll see that 6 to 10 storm surge down here in the yellow. So the further you get from where the storm makes landfall, you'll see a lower storm surge. But the catastrophic storm surge, 25 foot plus, will be right in this region here just south of Tampa, where the circulation around the eye wall, that wall of water, will come onshore right here just to the south of the eye as it makes landfall. So as it approaches the coastline, we will see that wall of water, that 25-foot tall wall of water, come on shore. So look for devastating flooding and coastal erosion and high winds along the coast, where we're going to see those winds sustained at 140 miles per hour. Those gusts could reach as high as 170 to 180. So a wind gust of high as 180 to 190 miles per hour. So look forward to that. And then here we're going to see our storm surge again. Then we're going to see our hurricane, once it moves across the peninsula, will come again, exit stage left near St. Augustine and south of Jacksonville. It will move back out over the Atlantic after crossing the Orlando area. It's going to move back out over the Atlantic. So with that, we're going to see storm surge again to the north of the eye as it moves. So we're going to see basically to the right of the eye, which will be north of the eye. To the right, we'll see the storm surge again, but we'll see a much weaker hurricane emerge in the Atlantic, where we could be down to Category 2 hurricane emerging into the Atlantic after the few hours that it takes to move across the peninsula. But then we will see that storm surge 6 to 10 feet north of Jacksonville and along the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. In North Florida, we're going to see again storm surge as it exits the peninsula back into the Atlantic and moves away from the landmass. And then here we go, as we look at those winds, so we're going to see those wind gusts. It's going to be in excess of you see the dark colors here, and that's wind gusts in excess of 145 miles per hour to 160 miles per hour. So right along that eye wall, we're going to see those 160 to 180 mile per hour wind gusts, but we're going to see that gradually decrease as it moves across the Florida Peninsula and eventually exits into the Atlantic on the east coast of Florida. We're going to see those wind gusts back down to about 105 to 110 miles per hour. Again, look at those rainfall amounts. We're going to see those rainfall amounts. About a foot of rain or so is going to be expected around the center of circulation, around our hurricane as it moves across the Florida Peninsula. So expect at least a foot of rain, and we will see lower rainfall amounts as you move away from the center of circulation. Again, we're going to see the potential for tornadoes as this storm makes its way on shore, but we're going to mostly see that tornado threat in those outer bands that circulate around the storm. So those outer feeder bands is where we typically see those thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado. And those are where we're going to see the greatest risk for tornadoes over the mainland and down over South Florida as well. Fort Myers down to the Keys. We're going to see water spouts all the way up to Tampa and then across the peninsula to Delray Beach and Daytona and areas south of Jacksonville. We're going to see that potential for the greatest risk for thunderstorms and tornadoes. And then other weather that's taking place across the country, a pretty significant cool down is going to be coming to the folks in the Northeast and the Eastern Great Lakes. We're going to see a nice early season chill with an area of low pressure that's moving across northern New England and into the New Brunswick area of Canada. So Eastern Canada, we're going to be seeing temperatures about 3 to 10 degrees below historical averages. And we're going to also see some lake effect rain showers this time with this area of cooler weather. And we're going to also see um, uh, snow levels potentially as well, and some of the mountains in Vermont, New Hampshire can see snow down to 3,000 feet. So some light snow is going to be possible as well. As we start to see those fall colors take effect or kick in across the Northeast and eastern Canada as well. So get ready for a stretch of cool weather. If some frost is also possible Thursday night and into Friday, we're going to see temperatures below freezing, where we can see some frost here through the portions of the northern Appalachian Mountains into western Pennsylvania, western New York, and Vermont as well. Excuse me. Well, we're going to see it cold enough to see some frost and some snow in the mountain areas as well. So get ready for a nice, refreshing change from all the heat and humidity. Again, as we move through time through the week here, we're going to see this pattern. We're going to see a little bit cooler weather in the east, so we're going to see 3 to 6 degrees below historical averages as we get to the end of the week. But through the center of the nation, we're going to see a nice ridge of high pressure move across, and we're going to see things about 10 to 20 degrees above historical averages, and maybe some very dry weather as well. It's going to be this dry weather coming through and very warm. So not a lot of humidity expected with this dome of high pressure and this heat bubble, as you will. It's not the biggest, but it's pretty substantial. We will see temperatures 20 degrees warmer. Now, it's typically in the 60s here in Minnesota in October, so we're going to see those highs here in the 80s. So we're going to see another a couple of days where we flirt with temperatures in the low 80s here across the upper Midwest, the upper Mississippi River Valley. We're going to see those temperatures in the 80s, and we're going to see those 70s and 80s through northern Wisconsin and Michigan as well. So, and then across Illinois and Indiana, down across the Ohio Valley, we're going to see a brief period of a couple of days with warmer than average temperatures as well. But not a lot of rainfall to speak of at this time. It's been very dry. That dry weather is going to continue, as we're not seeing much in the way of energy coming from the Pacific and from the West Coast, as we have a little bit of traffic building in across the West Coast, but that's going to be mostly with dry weather associated. Here again is another look at the path that our hurricane is going to take as it comes from the southern Gulf of Mexico in the Bay of Campeche, then across the eastern Gulf towards Florida as it crosses the Florida Peninsula. And then on Thursday morning, we will see our hurricane exit the east coast of Florida back into the Atlantic. It's going to cross to the north of the Bahamas and make its way towards eventually passing just to the north of Bermuda. So we're going to see our hurricane pass very, very close to Bermuda. Bermuda will be affected by our hurricane as it begins to weaken again back down to either tropical storm strength or just an area of low pressure here as it moves out past the Bahamas and back out towards the Bermuda and towards the open Atlantic. So I don't see it maintaining itself as a hurricane or near as it approaches the Great Britain and Northern Europe. So I don't expect it to do that. I expect it to substantially weaken as it makes its way across the Atlantic after exiting the state of Florida on Thursday morning. Again, we're going to see some beach erosion with some of that return flow as we see those swells from that low pressure center and the remnants of Milton as it heads back out over the Atlantic. So it's going to lead to some beach erosion over South Carolina, North Carolina, up to Virginia, maybe Delaware as well. We can see some beach erosion as well. So we've got some heavy surf that might be a little bit choppy, and those waves will crash on shore. So we'll see some rip currents as well across the southeast and North Florida. So some Georgia, North Florida, like from Jacksonville through Savannah, through Myrtle Beach, through Cape Hatteras in North Carolina as well, and parts of Virginia Beach. We're going to see lots of beach erosion, as we're going to see the coastline get battered by the remnants of the exiting hurricane. Again, we're going to see that Milton storm surge. We're going to also see storm surge on the East Coast as well, as the hurricane comes back out into the Atlantic on Thursday. So we will see some storm surge of a few feet of storm surge possible across North Florida, southeastern Georgia near Savannah, and Myrtle Beach in South Carolina as well. We're going to see another round of storm surge, but much less than we're going to see on the west coast of Florida, where the full brunt of Hurricane Milton will hit, but we will see the after effects of some storm surge as the hurricane exits on the East Coast. Much weaker, and further weakening will commence as it moves out over the open Atlantic north of the Bahamas. And then we're going to see, as we head through time this week, we will see this warmer air start to move out of the plains into the Ohio Valley, and then across the south. We're going to see little to no rainfall with this area of warmer weather. Not a lot of humidity associated with this as well, and we're going to see that dome actually push that cooler air that we saw invade the Northeast that we will see later this week. And we will see that dome of high pressure push that cooler air back out over the water, but we will see this dome of high pressure move across, and we will see um, it will be a good deal, a nice weather for cleanup from Hurricane Helene, but we will see some moisture get suppressed as well back down into Florida. So could still see a period of dry weather after the hurricane, and high pressure will move in. We will see the moisture get suppressed further down to the east and south. So even across Florida, you will have time to dry out and clean up from the damage from both Helene and Milton as well. And you have further time to clean up across Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee will also see dry weather over the near future, the immediate future as well. So all the way up into the Northeast and the Great Lakes and the areas that the upper Mississippi River Valley will have time to continue. Well, it's been pretty dry lately, then it will continue to be dry. So, but very light winds, but we're not worried about much in the way of humid as well. So it's going to be less humid. Sorry, it will also be less humid with this area of warmth as well. So that's some good news for the folks on the eastern half of the United States. Too bad I can't say the same for the folks on the West Coast, where that heat is just going to continue across the Southwest and through the desert. So, but we're going to see some of the rain from the remnants of Kirk as well as Milton. So, Leslie, we're going to see the remnants of our tropical systems make its way to France, Portugal, Spain, Great Britain, as well as Germany could see some heavy rainfall. So we'll see the remnants of our tropical systems that affected the Atlantic, but we will see that move towards the northern Atlantic and towards Europe. So we will see some rain and wind of the non-tropical variety as these leftovers, remnants of these tropical systems begin to affect parts of the mainland of Europe. And then on the west coast, here's a closer look at the high pressure coming on shore. That's going to create nice Santa Ana conditions over Southern California. So nice offshore flow. So we'll keep things hot and dry across the southwestern United States with some daily high records. Will be challenged on Thursday and again on Friday. So parts like Vegas, Phoenix, in parts in Southern California could have some record high temperatures challenged or exceeded. Again, look at that heat that we're going to be seeing across California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, as well as in Utah. We're going to see heat mostly across the southern sections of Nevada, southern Utah, and southern Colorado as well. With that warmth, it will continue across New Mexico, Albuquerque, Phoenix, and Arizona, Tucson, over into southern California as well. And that is a look at your weather forecast for today. Mostly dry weather for the majority of the lower 48, with the exception of the folks in Florida dealing with Hurricane Milton. They will get substantial rainfall from that. And outside of that, they will also experience a period of dry weather, while dry weather continues across the west of the lower 48. My name is Mr. G. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another forecast as we update the progress of Hurricane Milton. Bye-bye.